Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing you all the headlines from today's news in the world of Everton. So let's get straight into it with the headline news. And we'll start with the potential income into Everton. Court Offside have reported that Everton, along with Bayer Leverkusen and Fulham, have met with the representatives of Joel Matip, former Liverpool centre-half, because the 32-year-old is a free agent after leaving Liverpool in the summer. This is a bit of an interesting one. It's kind of come out of the blue. It's probably not a player that we would expect to be linked with, especially because he played over the other side of the park for all those years. But it's definitely an interesting one. It does feel like we're kind of getting to silly season now in terms of transfers and in terms of links being thrown around. But it does seem like agent talk. But we put it to you guys and we put it to you for your opinion, and it was a relatively unanimous decision on Joel Matip from you guys. 67% of you were against him signing for Everton, with 22% in favour and 11% unsure. I think I probably sit firmly in the against bracket here. Considering his injuries, he didn't play a large chunk of last season for Liverpool, so he's not played a lot of football in the last year or so. And that there is always that added thing of him playing for Liverpool. It might wind them up over the other side of the park a little bit, who knows? But I think subconsciously it does have that little bit more of an edge. But for me, the injuries are the biggest thing, and he is 32 now, so how long we'd get out of him, I'm not so sure. So I'm probably sticking towards the against category in that section. But yeah, moving on now to a potential outgoing. And Tuto Atalanta have reported that Atalanta are interested in potential move for Beto, with 20 million euros, the reported fee. And this comes following an injury to Gianluca Scamacca, a long-term injury for the Atalanta striker. This one, again, there has been murmurs in the last couple of weeks, hasn't there, surrounding Beto and whether he would leave or stay at Everton. He had a relatively stop-start season for his first season in England with Everton. Didn't get a lot of opportunities. I thought he did well when he could. And we put it to you guys again, and we asked you, would you sell him for 20 million? And 62% of you were actually in favour, with 12% unsure and 26% against selling Beto. This one for me, I personally would like to see Beto stay. I think you can't write off a striker like that after one season. It was always going to take him a little bit of time to get up to speed in the Premier League. People have opinions about his touch, about his finishing, his pace. I think his raw pace is very good. He's obviously a strong striker. I do genuinely think, and I am going to stand on this hill, I do genuinely think he will come good for Everton. I do think there will be a player there come the end of the season if he's given the right opportunity and if he's given a consistent amount of game time in the team. I do think Beto will eventually come good. But let me know in the comments what you're thinking about Beto leaving potentially. Is it something you're disappointed in? Are it was Beto not the player you envisaged when we signed him a year ago from Udinese? Is he not that player? But for me personally, I'd quite like to see Beto stay, and I'd quite like to see him have a little bit of a run in the team next season, especially as the future of Dominic Calvert-Lewin is all up in the air now regarding his contract. I'd like to see Beto maybe have a little bit more of an opportunity in the team. But let me know your thoughts in the comments surrounding that one. Moving on, Corriere dello Sport have reported our interest in Boulaye Dia. I think this will probably hinge on Beto leaving. This was again another one from last season. That seems to be cropping up again. Beto, Boulaye Dia, these were names last season that were being heavily linked to Everton. Newcastle also in the running for this one, so that could be an interesting one to see how that develops in the coming weeks or so. And I do think that would hinge on either Dominic Calvert-Lewin leaving or Beto leaving. So I think this is definitely an interesting one to keep an eye on. As I said, I don't think we would have all three strikers in terms of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Beto, and Boulaye Dia. I don't think we'd have all three strikers on the books. But it's definitely one to keep an eye on. And as well, another potential incoming is reported by Pete O'Rourke. He's reported that Everton are leading the race for Calvin Phillips, ahead of Aston Villa in this race at this moment in time. For Manchester City midfielder, obviously on a loan deal. This is an interesting one. I personally probably would have liked to see Calvin Phillips join at the start of the window, and had a full pre-season with Dyche. I know he's had a few fitness issues in the last couple of seasons. Pep has been quite heavy in criticism of Calvin Phillips in recent seasons in terms of his fitness. So I think it would have been nice to see Calvin Phillips maybe coming at the start. It might be a similar situation to what we saw with Jack Harrison, where we don't see him till September, till he's got that full fitness to be in the side with Everton. But I think there's definitely a player in there. We saw it with Leeds in their first season. He's tenacious. He likes to press. He has got a good eye for a pass. So I think Calvin Phillips is definitely a player that I'd like to see in an Everton shirt. Whether we can get this one over the line is a different story. But as I said before, a loan deal I think is a good starting point and a good point for us in terms of it's similar to the Jesper Lindstrom deal, for example, where we sign the player on loan for the season and maybe potentially have an option at the end of that deal. I think it does bode well for us. So yeah, this one to keep an eye on. It's positive that Pete O'Rourke is reporting that we are ahead in the race and ahead of Aston Villa. That's definitely something to get excited about. But let's see how that one develops. Let's see if anything comes out in the next few days or so. And yeah, potentially more developments in that scenario. But a final potential incoming of the day, and Tutto Sport have reported that Arthur Melo could be joining from Juventus, and that Everton have opened talks with his agent and along with Leicester, with Juventus wanting to get rid of the player ideally this summer. I think this is an interesting one for me. As I said before, it's similar to the Joel Matip one. It's a player who's played on the other side of the park, so whether that has a little bit of a subconscious effect on my decision, I don't know. But he didn't play any football in the Liverpool shirt in terms of actual minutes on the pitch. So I think this one, it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. If he does sign for Everton or Leicester, how he copes with the Premier League. It does remain to be seen, but this one is still relatively early days, so I'm not going to get too hell bent on what kind of player he is. I think it would be interesting to see him in an Everton shirt or see him play in the Premier League, but whether he can get up to the speed of the Premier League and after playing at Juventus, that's a different story. But it's one to keep an eye on, one to see if it develops in the coming days, and let's see if there's any more developments in terms of a bid made or from Leicester side or Everton side. But finally, some unfortunate injury news from the Everton front. Yusuf Chamiti has confirmed this evening on his Instagram story, along with Everton on Twitter, that he has undergone surgery on his left foot. There was murmurs, wasn't there, just ahead of the Coventry game last Tuesday, whether Yusuf Chamiti would be fit. I know some people were reporting that he did have an injury on his left foot. That has now turned out to be the case, and he has had surgery. So wish him a speedy recovery. Hopefully you can see him back on the pitch soon, because for me last season I was very excited seeing Yusuf Chamiti on the pitch in an Everton shirt. There's definitely a player in there for me. So hopefully he gets back to full fitness very soon and we can see him in an Everton shirt, fit and firing, and hopefully scoring goals for us. But that is all for the news today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on the potential news today, on the potential incomings, potential outgoings of Beto. So yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'll speak to you soon.